horrible interviews to do those because you've won 2-0, but it's only the first leg, so you kind of want to look happy, but you can't look too happy.
Look, we know as players, ex-players, they're very happy in that dressing room right now. Of course they are. They've got to say, do the right things, be professional in the manner, because obviously you need to show that respect as well to Arsenal, because still we're talking about an Arsenal team that are challenged for the title, still, close with Liverpool. So look, we can't shade away from it, but I think going now to St James's Park, I always felt Arsenal needed to be in front, because it's never going to be an easy place to play football. Never has been. But look, they're playing with confidence. A lot can happen. Like we say, it's a long period of time now until that next game. So I think there's a lot that could change in this moment in time. I think the great thing with Isak in this moment in time for him, he's staying fit. And I think that's what's key for him. And those connections with Murphy, I said, he knows when to make these runs, because you've got a different winger on the sides, and I think they benefit from each other, that's for sure right now.
Overall, those stats made it look very, very dominant for Arsenal. It didn't feel like that watching it, did it?
It didn't feel that way at all, and probably me being slightly biased, Mark, but I think when they got the second goal, Eddie made some changes, took free there, and then they got into more a defensive sort of lower block, Newcastle, and probably the possession stats went up, and maybe Arsenal had a few more set plays. But I always felt Newcastle were relatively comfortable. I didn't feel there was like Dubravka making loads of saves and they were, hitting posts and all this, and they were all hanging on. I didn't have that feel about the game. I thought it was a perfect game plan from Eddie Howe and his staff. And no, I mean, stats you can read into them too much, can't you, Jimmy?
I agree, Shay. I think you're spot on. I think
comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, it's never comfortable because they've got players, and especially with Arsenal, they're so good at set pieces. You always feel you're going under a bit of pressure. I think Shay alluded to the keeper was fantastic tonight. He gave you a real platform, made good saves at the right time. He was brave in his decisions. The two fullbacks I thought were excellent, Livramento and Howe. Just a really good performance, especially had to change it. Botman went off and little tweaks here and there. But I just felt that the performance from minute one, and what you've got when you've got a player like Isak, he can just give you such an outlet. I never felt today that Arsenal had an outlet. If the ball went up to Havertz, there was never really anyone joining in with real pace. But the flip side of it, when Newcastle had it, they had tremendous pace on the break. You spoke before the game about having that counter-attacking speed. Arsenal looked a bit paceless today. But the flip side was Newcastle. Every time they got the ball going forward with Gordon and players like that, you're bringing on Harvey Barnes off the bench. Jacob Murphy is a revelation. Now, I didn't see this player. I thought he would be, at times maybe coming off the bench. He could be a good squad player. And I think it's so much credit to Eddie Howe. And it's not just players like him, it's players like Joe Linton, it's players like Dan Burn. How he works with players day in, day out and improving them. That's the art of management. It's not always about tactics, it's about improving players. And I think that's one of Eddie's biggest skill sets.
I think as well with Arsenal at this moment in time, what worries me for them, on the outside looking in, is we're getting excited by set pieces all the time instead of excited about that free-flowing football. And that's what Arsenal's known for. And they're going away from it. We're shying away from it at this moment in time. You can see at times the players are running out of ideas. They can't at times play off the cuff, should we just say. They're playing to a system at times, and it gives the opportunity for Newcastle, who defended incredibly well and enjoyed defending, but it gave them time to get back into shape. When there's space to attack teams, I think we go away from it at times.
And it was... Yeah. Sorry, Claude.
I was just going to say, Mark, I think what you're so right, and what Newcastle are, is they're a big, powerful side, so they're not going to be scared of set pieces. They've got players like Dan Burn that are going to head it. Botman's going to head it. You could bring Isak back. You've got Joe Linton. So they just thought to themselves, when Arsenal do their whole set-piece routine and they all got to the back post, they were like, we're going to stay in our positions. That ball's going to come in and we're going to make sure we attack it. And they were excellent. And they've still got work to do, because I've been in this position before as a player, and you think, we've done the hard work. We'll get them at home. Everyone's got to stay calm, because even the crowd are going to get excited. Arsenal will come back into this game. If they score a goal early, it's still game on. This is not a foregone conclusion just yet.
And going to the goals, and it was a set piece that did for Arsenal with the first goal.
Yeah, it was. I know Arsenal get a lot of credit, but I think there's a lot of staff at Newcastle as well who work hard in this as well. I think, going back to even when I played, Sam Lydish used to say just floated as a goalkeeper, and that caused a lot of panic in the middle of the goal. And we spoke about it at half-time. I think Saliba gets drawn into the long ball. I don't think he should go the centre-half, unless he's going to win it, of course. And obviously, Jimmy mentioned the point about Odegaard picking up Isak, your most dangerous player, the player in form in the Premier League. If anything, for me, Timber should be on the inside, maybe an Odegaard on the outside, so he's a natural defender. So you can see them here, light them up. Odegaard's got Isak. I know there's a slight push there, but there's always comings together in the box. I don't think it's enough to give a foul away, and Newcastle get their nose in front.
I think it just bullies them all game. They couldn't handle him. And it genuinely blows my mind how you could have a situation where Odegaard is marking that man. He's the most fearsome striker in the Premier League right now. So difficult to mark. And you end up with Odegaard. You've got to detail someone there. The set-piece coach...
You'd have put a defender on him because you might not necessarily... I don't know. But you might not want your two centre-halves.
I would say that if we see it again, you've got Timber outside him. I would even probably say, if I'm more of a defender, I tell you what, let's swap. And I'll come inside and you come and mark Gordon, because that is just a massive problem. Odegaard never looks comfortable. And I've been in that position in the midfield player. Look, he's playing with his sock there. He's not really interested. Now he's got 2 yards ahead of him. Now, Isak is in control of the situation if the ball comes to him. Odegaard doesn't think defensively. So you have to detail someone. And the set-piece coach, and I said it at half-time, gets a lot of credit, rightly so, for the attacking set-pieces. Things like that isn't good enough from my point of view. You know, you cannot have a situation where he's marking him. It's a complete mismatch. One is thinking, I'm going to score, and one is actually thinking, if the ball comes to me, I might be able to do something attacking-wise. I think it's a mistake.
But as well, players need to be able to adapt to situations. We reflect on this all the time, but players want to just play to a system or play to, I need to be here, I'm in the right position. They don't worry about anyone else instead of adapting. And the issue is if they go away from what they've been told, they may not play that next game, or they may be dragged. And you've got players that need to...
Is that right? So I need to be in this space for this free kick, rather than, oh, hang on a minute, I've suddenly got this man on me and maybe I shouldn't have, so let's switch.
Because it's like putting me at centre-half next to Gabriel there. There's just no... I'm not going to have any intention of defending it. Nothing against what Odegaard, but that's where they need to play as a player on the field. Particularly the captain should not got to be aware of this, to be honest. Say, look, this isn't my role. I shouldn't be in this position.
Put your hand
I think
up.
there's nothing
wrong with saying that. I mean,
No.
I've got a problem here. They can call you Gabriel, call Saliba over. You come and mark.
Even the both goals, they're both avoidable. There's a lot of mistakes leading up to all the goals, I felt, and it's very out of character for Arsenal.
Absolutely.
The second goal, and Isak was instrumental here as well.
Well, I think Isak's brilliant. This is, you know, he just pulls off the two centre-halves and midfielders can't get near him. We'll keep an eye on. We talk about Murphy. I think he's been brilliant as well. That's a fantastic pass into Isak. Raya makes the save, and I think Timber on the back post again maybe goes to sleep a bit, and he's on his heels, and Gordon jumps in and nips in and scores the goal. But look at the movement. It's kind of like a pattern of play you do maybe on a day before a game, Mark, or whatever. You know, the Arsenal players they're pointing, they're saying you pick him up, the midfielders. The midfielders are one of the centre halves to go all the way in, and nobody does anything. But we'll keep an eye on Isak. We talk about how brilliant he was. No one really sticks a glove on him. 3 players around him at this stage. He's got really quick feet, which I like at this stage. Hits an early shot. Keeper's not totally set. Gets a good save on it, and again, but Isak just brilliant on this, and of course Gordon. We always talk about the opposite winger, don't we? Coming in with a nice tap in for you.
But as well, the great thing about Isak, he always keeps on the move. He always gets the centre half guessing of whose response he should take on of him. Like you said there, everyone's confused because he puts himself in all these positions, and he's a player as well who's comfortable everywhere on the field. You see players at times will receive the ball in a position where you think he's not going to affect the game. He's always going to affect the game wherever he's on that field because he's keeping a lot of players on that pitch.
I think if we can see that again, explain that point too. I think it's important, Phil, because what he does, I think, so well, is just gets in between the two centre-backs, which makes it so difficult to mark.
But the great thing is then, he initiates the run, which creates Murphy to play that ball, but even before that, you see Gordon on the other side. He lights up. As soon as Murphy's got the ball, he thinks, right, something's going to happen here. I don't know if you can go back there. You see Gordon that comes in because he's out wide, affecting the game. Timber's a bit confused on where he is. He's looking over, and at times Timber is a bit squared on. But you see Gordon, he's venturing out to the wide.
Yeah.
As soon as Isak gets the ball here, his eyes light at Gordon. Comes out to Murphy. He's right. I need to get in here now. Something's going to create. Something's going to happen, and it's just a smart play. Isak did something in the first half which really put Saliba on the back foot of thinking, oh, I've got a player to deal with today. And that's the sort of player Arsenal will be craving to have.
It's great wide play.
Do you know what that reminds me of? We did last year's semi-final with Chelsea, and Mikhail Mudryk, and there was a criticism of him never coming off.
Trippier gave him the goal, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Exactly.
Yeah, in the end.
Because that's what we all talk about, numbers, and now Salah's have been a master at it for so long. He gets in at that back post, and I think that's something that you have to coach, you have to tell people, and they're the goals that just food and drink for any wide player now. Because Mohamed Salah has been the best at it. You know, Raheem Sterling, when he was at Manchester City, unbelievable at it. And that's what you've got to do as a wide man.
And as well, when as a wide man, when you've got a right footed now with Murphy, going back to him, it's easier for a forward to make the run because it's not delayed. They don't know when you're going to bring it in. That's, you know, for instance, Doku, who's a good player, but at times you're like, when are you going to cross it? And the difference now, Savinho crossing it, Haaland's scoring goals, is getting rewarded.
I think it comes down to coaching as well with the manager. Yeah. I think if you clearly see the position in every single player, Isak, Sandro gets it, zings it into his feet, and then the movement, and of course you mentioned Gordon coming in off the far side. That's been coached, drilled day after day after day, and it comes natural, doesn't it, when it's a match day.